Yandini Yajala, Malgananura, Gathaagudu, Yina Wala Wujunu, Yina Yajala. Welcome, good friend, to our Mulgan home two waters. You come a stranger, you're now a friend. You know, 70% of our country up there is sea. It's a very unique area. It's like the junction of, you know, atmospheric, marine and geographic areas. It's just a real mixing point.
Gathaagudu is our Mulgana name for this beautiful paradise that we live in, Shark Bay. We have strong cultural connections here. We recently gained determination on the 4th of December 2018, which formally recognised us as the traditional custodians and owners of our country.
Shark Bay Marine Park is almost 1 million hectares of the most pristine marine environment that you ever get to see. It also takes in Hamlin Pool Marine Nature Reserve. It's a truly unique part of Australia and the globe. So that area is designated as a Marine Nature Reserve because it's conservation status for the stromatolites and the very unique environment that's developed there. And so it's an important place for research to really understand what's driven the climate change throughout history, and important to provide information to scientists as we move into the future as well.
Shark Bay is a really important area for fishing, full stop. Commercial fishing has a long history and more recently, in recent decades, become a recreational fishing destination. It's one of Australia's premier recreational fishing destinations, and around that you've got the tourism related aspect to it. So in terms of commercial fishing, the first fishery up there was actually the pearling, which dates from the late 1800s. And obviously there was a community there and they had to feed themselves and they turned to fishing. But Shark Bay as a whole, as a commercial fishing area, is probably our second most important fishery in the state after rock lobster, when you add prawns, scallops, crabs and snapper together. So very important part of the area, and that's obviously dependent on the natural values of the area, good management and the environmental aspects. So preserving the marine environment for healthy fisheries is very much what the department's about, and certainly the community well understands.
Shark Bay is one of those truly exceptional places of which you find the biodiversity and the ecosystem and the species that are living in Shark Bay nowhere else on Earth. And because of that special status, a special marine life that is very famous around the world, Shark Bay has received a special recognition. It has received the UNESCO World Heritage recognition already back in 1991.
So the rangers themselves are an interesting group of committed young people who want to live on country in Shark Bay, and they want to do something that looks after culture and looks after country. I learn every day a little bit more about the Mulgana language and Mulgana culture, and to me it just enriches my research incredibly. For me, seagrasses represent one of the major primary producers in sandy bottoms around the country. And the really cool thing about seagrasses is we are one of the sites of biodiversity of seagrasses in West Australia. So it sits between the tropical and the temperate waters of West Australia. So it's the transition in all of the predicted and also actual climate change that's happening right now. And Shark Bay is one of the worst examples of what an extreme heat wave does to an ecosystem.
If we don't act now, I think Shark Bay is probably in for a tough time in the future. All the projections show that marine heat waves are going to become more frequent and more intense in the future. And we've seen in 2011 that there was really quite a stark impact to Shark Bay that impacted its environmental values, its social values and its economic values as well. That's centred around the dieback of the temperate seagrass they've got growing there. We know that the major seagrasses in Shark Bay do not like warmer temperatures, and so if we do nothing to protect them, these warm temperatures that are going to keep coming through in the form of marine heat waves are really going to decimate that marine environment and threaten the World Heritage values of the bay.
So one of the things we found when we were speaking to Mulgana is that they see huge numbers of researchers, both from the state and internationally, coming in and working in their sea country in Gathaagudu. So they were very interested to know what research had been done. So we had a large workshop, and it was really to return some of the knowledge. So we'd done a large plan, we'd done the synthesis of the papers that had been published, and there was over 900, and we gave back to Malgana a list of all of these and a short synthesis of what they're about.
I think we've got a really unique opportunity in Shark Bay to be not only national leaders but also international leaders in terms of how we can marry science and commercial enterprises well. So I guess the buzzword has always been sustainable development. We have that opportunity to do things right in Shark Bay, to be really cognizant of the fact that we are in a very pristine but incredibly fragile marine and terrestrial environment, and there's a huge need to protect that. On the same token, obviously being a tourism operator, we want to showcase that to not only Australians but people globally. And we've got an opportunity here to do it well, to do it right, provided it's done with the ecosystem in mind.
I'd like to see, moving into our future, that our World Heritage values, our outstanding universal values, are available for our children to use and benefit from. Not just from the perspective of conservation without use, but because our World Heritage values, the fact that we've got these beautiful seagrass meadows, they provide for a really dynamic industry. We've got great fisheries here. We have fabulous tourism here.
We have so much interchange of data, and what we really want to move on to is intercultural connection. Not just non-Indigenous connections to us, with us, but intercultural to get us back together again. Yeah.
In the summer of 2010-2011, the West Australian coastline was exposed to an extreme marine heat wave, one of the most extreme globally. And that extreme marine heat wave warmed the waters above 30 degrees in the shallows around Shark Bay and caused the loss of about 1,000 square kilometres of seagrasses. And some of the areas that were impacted were places like Monkey Mia, the banks off Monkey Mia, including Witch Bank, around Denham, in the deeper water offshore of Denham, in the extensive seagrass meadows. When that occurred, we were working up there and saw the loss of seagrasses as being catastrophic and that we needed to do something about it. So it's not all doom and gloom as we thought in 2010-2011. It's actually it's a great community ecological exercise. So it's where we get the social components, put it together with the ecological, and we get interest from government and industry to actually plant seagrasses. And that basically builds resilience in the existing natural meadows, and it builds a capacity for that system to survive another heat wave or just global warming associated with climate change.
So these bags here are potentially going to be our bags to grow seagrass in the Eastern Gulf and Monkey Mia. Anyway, this year we've been given a licence to put down 2.5 kilometres of sandbags. All we've got to do is fill the sacks, get them onto a pallet, get them on our trailer, get them down to the boat, then manhandle them onto the boat. I've never used a sewing machine in my life. I can sew buttons on by hand.
So we've got the seedlings here for Amphibolus antarcticus. This is the fastest growing seagrass in Shark Bay. So then we have the Hessian sacks here, which Dad's sown in the back shed. These are the Hessians being so kindly to be donated by Blackwoods. So then we pretty much get the Hessian sacks filled with 25 to 30 kilos of sand, and then we run them off the back of a Aristocrat onto the protected dugong bank, Witch Bank. And then we pretty much want the seedlings to get broken off from the main plant and come drifting along in the current. We pretty much want that to happen.
Malcolm.
Well done, fellas.
Well done, Malcolm.
Ooh.
Hey! Seagrass!
Warani Gathaagudu Yajala Yanani
Welcome, welcome.
Nugunu Yajala
Good friends.
Malgana
To our Mulgana home.
Gathaagudu
2 orders.
Nyali Wanga Turaru
Talk.
Nyalisha Mentarenu
Eat, sing and laugh.
Inda Wala Bushanu
You came a stranger.
Inda
Now a friend.
Jina Mana Barisha
Tread lightly on this land.
Baringa Warani
And when you come back,
Inda Nugunu Yajala
come back a friend.
Jina Mana Barisha Baringa Warani Inda Nugunu Yajala